You're listening to the Spark Your Light podcast, where my mission is to help you create a life that sparks a light inside of you. This is episode 280. Don't give up before the good part. This episode is for you. If you feel like you need a little bit of motivation to stay committed to your goals, this is going to be a great dose of that today. And thank you so much to SoulCycle for sponsoring today's episode. So this episode is inspired by my journey in not giving up before the good part. So if you're new here, I started almost a decade ago. It was 9 years ago that I decided that I wanted to start a business. I was in college. I had done a corporate internship that I just felt something was off at, felt like something was missing, like I wanted more for my life. And I pursued my first business idea. It was these plates that encouraged balanced eating because I struggled with an eating disorder in college. And one of the things that really helped was eating all the food groups instead of cutting food groups out and yo-yo dieting. And so I thought these plates would be the best thing ever to encourage people to eat more balanced meals and therefore have a healthier relationship with food in their bodies. I raised money for the plates and they ended up being a total failure. And then I took some of that money that I had raised and put it into an app that I tried to build, which also ended up being a total failure. And these failures took about 2.5 years of my life. I was graduated college. I was living home with my parents. And it was after those failures that I most considered giving up. I felt like I had already tried multiple times and failed. And it's easy to take failure as a sign that something isn't meant for us. But the truth is, those failures are not a sign that something isn't meant for us. They're a sign that we need to keep going. If Michael Jordan had quit basketball after getting cut from his 9th grade team, then he would have never been one of the best players of all time. There are so many instances of people who could have given up, but didn't. And that's the only reason that they are where they are today. And in this episode, what I really want you to remember and walk away with is that the good part only comes after the hard part. So if you're in the hard part now, you've already endured so much of the hard. If you give up, you never get the good, because the truth is, giving up does not bring relief. It brings regret. You are not going to be happier just giving up on your dreams. We can convince ourselves of that. That is a story that is played in my brain so many times where I told myself, would I just be happier if? And then it's like insert some kind of story about quitting or giving up. And the answer is no. You were given this dream for a reason. That spark is inside of you for a reason. It wasn't put there by accident. But if you give up before the good part, you're not going to be happy and you're never going to get to experience that. It's like living a life without tasting your favorite food ever. Could you imagine? You go your entire life and you never had your favorite food. And to be honest, I would argue that it's maybe your top 10 favorite foods, because your life would be so bland without ever getting to the good part of your dreams and goals. It would be a life where you never felt fulfilled, where you never got to do those things you always wanted to do. That's not the life you want to live. You know it. That's why you're here. That's why you're listening to this episode. That's why you're seeking that spark, that grit, that motivation. So don't do that, because I'm here to say that 9 years later, I'm at the good part. And you know what's so cool about saying this? I know I'm going to look back on this and I'm going to be at an even better part and think, I thought that was good. It's cool how that works, how it just gets better and better and better. That's one of my favorite mantras. The better it gets, the better it gets. But where I am right now in my life feels really, really good. And it's kind of this weird thing where in the past 2 months, I've had all of these opportunities and successes come to me, but they have only come because I've been working towards them for almost a decade. So it feels like the culmination of all of that work. And now I'm enjoying the fruits of the labor, which is a really beautiful feeling. And I want everyone to experience it. I want everyone to get to the good part. Because without it, it almost makes all of the hard part that you went through meaningless. And today, I want to give you some tools that you can use when you're in the hard part to keep going. And when I look back on the past 9 years and the things that have helped me the most, the biggest thing has been being happy during the journey. Because the further and further away you get from happiness, that's when you start to question why you're doing it. Because you're like, I started pursuing this goal because I thought it would make me happy. And now I'm so far from happiness that maybe this isn't it. So it's really important that you don't stray from your happiness. And so that's kind of the center of my advice around sticking with it to get to the good part. So the first piece of advice is have fun. Make it fun. How can you make it fun? This is up to you. I love going to a coffee shop with my laptop and just doing my work, drinking my coffee, being in this environment of all of these people. I just enjoy that. That's fun. It's much more fun than being at home in my office. And so that's something that I have done so many times over the past decade because I enjoy it. It makes it fun. What else makes it fun for me? Sometimes meeting up with a friend who also has their own business and we can sit together at the coffee shop and work together. Those are things that have made it fun for me. Think about your journey and what your goal is and what would make it fun for you. Maybe your goal is something related to health and wellness. Maybe going to the gym or the workout class with a friend would make it more fun. So just ask the simple question, what would make this more fun? And you could ask that before like any activity you're going to do. And it could be the simplest of things. But it's really about having fun every day. And one of the things that helps have fun is embracing the perks of whatever comes with your goal. So, for example, being self-employed, there are lots of perks. I can go to a SoulCycle class at 9:30 on a Monday morning. And that, over the years, has been one of my favorite class times to go to because it's not crowded. Most people are at work. I get to sleep in. I get a good night's rest, but I also get to start my day, start my week with a really great thing. I just really enjoy that. And so when I gift myself that and I allow myself, because a lot of this is the art of allowing, I allow myself to go do that instead of forcing myself that it's 9 a.m., it's Monday morning, I have to start working. I have more fun. And I start to feel more gratitude for having my own business. And this was all before I had any success. This was when I had failed startups. I would do things like this. I remember I used to start my day with yoga, and I still do a lot on this app called Yoga Studio that I just really love. They have 10-minute classes, and I would start my day with yoga. Every morning I would get dressed into my little yoga outfit, and some days I would do it in my PJs, and I would just really enjoy that time I had to myself. So it's not about being successful to then do the things. It's about what are the things that you want to do that bring you joy and do them now. And a lot of times there are different perks with that thing. So maybe you're in medical school and you feel like you are so busy, you have absolutely no time, but you kind of have a unique schedule. Sometimes you're working night shift for your residency. And so, well, what perks does that bring? Maybe you really enjoy, when you are about to go into night shift, you take yourself to dinner. Or maybe when you first come home in the morning, you enjoy the peace and the quiet of the sunrise and you sit and you watch it for 5 minutes. What are the perks? There's always perks. You just have to think about them and actually enjoy them. Because a lot of times we don't give ourselves the gift of enjoying anything until we've hit the goal we want to hit. And that's when you're going all wrong, because you're never going to stay committed when you're miserable in the journey. Which gets me to my next piece of advice, which is you need to really look at the things you're doing as a means to an end. So a means to an end means that I am only doing this thing because I wanted to get me this thing. Like a couple of episodes ago, I gave this example of I started posting 10 TikToks a day a couple of years ago. And I did that because I wanted to get X number of followers. And so 10 TikToks a day because I wanted to get X number of followers. What did that get me? Nothing. I wasn't sparked. I wasn't inspired. It wasn't a attractive energy that would manifest more to me. Instead, it just led to very, very slow follower growth. Versus if you do something because it's sparking you, because it's something you're excited about, like maybe a person who loves making videos and can't wait to share their videos and is so excited to share their videos and they're just so lit up about it, that person is going to see so much more success with their posting because the energy that is coming from is a completely different energy than the energy of I have to do this. So anytime you're doing something as a means to an end, it's usually coming with a really dragging negative energy, and it usually doesn't get you a lot of results anyway. And those are some of the things that cause us to want to give up because we're miserable. So I really want you to look at anything you feel like I'm doing this to get this, look at it. Now, there are some things you just have to do. Like you have to do your taxes, period. I have to answer my accountant's email with the forms that she wants or the things she needs, the information she needs, and I have to do it even if I don't feel like it. So I can't say that you never are going to do things you don't want to do. I hate that quote that's like, if you have a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Because I feel like I work a lot. Even to record my podcasts, I had to prep the episodes and get my outfits ready and all these things, right? It's work. I could be just sitting on my couch drinking hot chocolate, but I'm not. I'm showing up. And even things you love still require effort and time and energy. So I do not vibe with that quote. But what I do feel is that if it's sparking your light, you can enjoy the process of putting in effort. It might be hard. It might be tiring. At the end of the day, you might feel depleted, but fulfilled. There's a totally different feeling at the end of the day when you are like, my cup is completely empty, but I poured it on things that felt good to me and I'm so proud of myself and it feels good, versus my cup is depleted and I just feel like I gave myself to everyone and everything and none of the things felt in alignment for me and I am just dead inside. That is a terrible feeling. And it's a feeling we've all felt before. And that's what you want to stay away from. So if you are feeling that in the journey of getting to the good part, you need to look at that and you need to dig deep and unpack and change whatever you need to change. And sometimes you need to change your attitude. So sometimes, when we look at it and we really explore it and we say, you know what? I keep coming back to this thing, but this thing feels really important to me. And it does feel in alignment with my long-term goals. I just kind of have a bad attitude about it. Okay. Can you change that? And sometimes you can make small tweaks too that just shake up the way that things feel. So maybe it's changing the way you do something. So for example, with my podcast, maybe the audio episodes were just becoming kind of like boring. I was recording them in my office, but maybe shaking it up with doing videos has created more spark for me. So it could be small tweaks that changed a lot, and you're still getting to that end goal. So taking the time to look at those things, to unpack it all. Ultimately, what you want is to enjoy the journey, to have fun along the way, even when you're not where you want to be. My last piece of advice for you to help enjoy that journey is to set goals along the way and celebrate as you achieve them. So progress is one of the best ways to create joy because we feel proud of ourselves. We feel like we're getting closer. And breaking down the really big goal into smaller goals is huge. And celebrating every step that you make towards them is incredible for creating joy. It feels so good to make progress. It feels so good to get closer and to know that you did it, that you put in the time, that you put in the energy, and it's all because of you. That is such a good feeling. So allow yourself to have that feeling by setting those goals and by celebrating your progress along the way. Whatever you do, please, 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 please do not give up before the good part. It is so worth it. If you do, you will literally never experience the good part. It only comes after the hard part. It only comes after all of the work that builds up to it. And all of the time. As much as I wish that we could manifest our dream life in a day, a week, a month, even a year, it's probably not going to happen. But there's nothing wrong with that. Why do we make that wrong? Why don't we love the journey and feel so proud of ourselves for what we did in 1 year and make amazing memories along the way? That's what it's about. And when you do that, it makes the good part taste that much sweeter. So it's waiting for you. Keep going. I know you can do it. You have everything you need inside of you. Do not give up. It's worth it. Your good part is so close. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode, and I will catch you next week.